Hello everyone, it's Murray the Pie Man here, and I'm going back to normal. I'm going to be doing some more of RealMyst. I'm going to see how long this is, whether I edit together a number of different ones, or if I do this bit all in a one-er. I don't quite know. I'm sure you'll see when it pans out. To look behind the curtain, sometimes I record it in bits and try to merge them together. Sometimes I don't, it depends. Also, the age which I'm thinking of looking at today has quite an extensive bit of puzzle solving on the island, if I remember rightly. So if that's the case, then I might just do the island puzzle solving and the story today and another. I don't quite know. To be honest, I'll kind of play this by ear. So here we are back in the library where we were last time, and I think we shall go to the bookshelf. It's been a while since I'm getting used to the controls. I was too used to Darkfall. So today we're going to look at the Stoneship age. Tattered old book there. So, are we sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. Emmet was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks because that is what they were, a group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This was where Emmet lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmet would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, as it was never too far of a distance. Odd phrasing there. One day, another person appeared on the rocks, for no apparent reason to Emmet. Emmet named the new person Branch. Okay. Emmet and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmet showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon, Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly in their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, while Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmet to find out what to call the new boy. Emmet said the new boy should be called Will, apparently liking him better and giving him a normal name. Will was soon part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least, that is the story I was told when I arrived on the island. Emmet, Branch and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended we were becoming good friends. Today, the second day in this newly created age, a strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the three boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change to the world, because I am a god. They didn't understand. Not that I expected them to, because I am a god. This is slightly going into some of the weird things you can do in the Myst kind of mythos, that when you write an age, you link to an existing age in quantum reality, but you can then alter it to an extent. I still do not fully understand what happened today. As I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules dictated to me by my father, I attempted to create a boat by writing it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I am pleased. They have played in it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying from it. It is a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also, during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavier rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I have decided to return home for a short while. I have also been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light towards the horizon, it might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They would be curious about the light and travel to discover the source if they have the means. I have returned with many tools that I will need for construction of the lighthouse. He's not writing the lighthouse anymore, not trying that again. I have decided that once the lighthouse is completed, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control, i.e. I'm going to attract people to these 3 boys and then naff off and hope for the best. We have worked 3 weeks in the lighthouse now and are making great progress. The rock we are building on seems not to be as secure as I would like. I've had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose no real problems. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. The lighthouse is finished, and we are all proud for our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure, wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night in the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise without my being coated with the chilly blanket of ocean dew I had become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the additional neighbours. I feel pleased to leave this age. I have set in motion events that have nothing to do with writing or the art, that will have a more profound impact in this world than I could have ever written. I think. And that's the Stoneship age bird's eye view. So this is what he's built. He's built some sort of umbrella thing there, some walkways, there's one of the big rocks, and there seem to be some power lines, and there's the ship broken in half. Of it as this age is a gift to myself that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that it is indeed a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I am going to need some way to travel underwater in this new age. So much planning is in order. It has been 10 years since I left this age, which I have since called the Stoneship age. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults, and there are many new faces that I do not recognise. Branch told me it had not rained for 7 years, and the cool breezes are back again. They are all very content and have been serving me with new foods, showing me new materials they have discovered. It even seems they have found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. My lighthouse has been kept in perfect condition, and it looks as if they have tried their very best to keep it so. Yet I have noted that the entire rock it was built on has sunk approximately 40 or 50 centimetres. After a wonderful visit with my old friends, I wonder aloud with them things like what it'll be like here in another 10 years. So this is obviously an early age. He's not been back here for a while, and this was before. He doesn't mention Akinar or Cirrus at all. And then we have a whole load of constellations. So now I suppose we should go and trigger the secret passage, and let's go and see what our code is. So here's our steps. And through the passage. Now, and lift up to the library. Oop. Now, I have talked a little, and indeed you possibly have seen last time, I've made a mistake. Gone up here without setting tower rotation first, so back down we go. Yes, I talked a bit about games that kind of inspired, that were inspired from Myst, I should say, or at least used some of the ideas. And indeed, one of the ones you just saw there was, you may have seen last time, was Darkfall, which used the basic first-person view and puzzle solving of Myst, but brought in things like an inventory, for example. So, where is the Stoneships? You know what? I don't think I've set its marker switch, because that's channel wood. That's mechanical. I may have to go outside. I may have made a boo-boo. Yes, so using the kind of first-person thing, like say Darkfall adapts it and brings in such factors as inventories and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, I hadn't flicked that switch. There you go. Meanwhile, yeah, other games, using modern ones which have used this idea of using a first-person game and finding info to more tell a story. Now, I don't think that was... I think originally Myst is meant to be puzzles, mainly, and just sort of the story is a thing to hang the puzzles off. But many of the other games have used something similar. They've said, yes, we've got some sort of puzzle, we've made a puzzle game, but here's your reason why you're solving these puzzles is to... is to progress the story rather than just turn up here and solve some puzzles. Why? Because there's puzzles, and this is something that's a problem with games like Myst. The puzzles seem, if you look at all of these, they're all combination locks, and it seems like someone didn't just want to leave like 5 digits or a password or something. They wanted to do, they wanted to make it a bit more esoteric, but it always seems a bit off. Whereas in something like Darkfall, you are kind of finding keys and that sort of thing. So there you go. You see, we can see the boat and the observatory, which is worth noting. Because if we go around this side, this is, like I say, where it's one of the more involved puzzles. I may have to use my phone camera here. So, I have 3 dates. October 11th, 1984, 10:04 AM. January 17th, sorry, 12:07, and 6:57 PM. I hope this all shows up well. Photographic, because I'm getting a lot of light from the window in my house at the moment. You possibly can't see that. So these are dates. So where did we see something which had dates on it before? Why, yes, it was that observatory. So yeah, so like I say, in the original Myst game, the plot is a bit rudimentary. Yes, we are finding things out as we go on and solving puzzles together. Something like Darkfall expanded in that, and you actually had something more along the lines of things hidden, like a locked safe, a key hidden somewhere, something, a note behind a picture, or something that's not... I think there are still some more puzzly puzzles, if you will, in Darkfall, but it does seem a bit more realistic, and indeed something like the game Gone Home, which again uses a kind of first-person walking simulator thing and has been criticised as such to tell a story. I think has done it really well, where you don't get the idea that you're playing a game and solving puzzles. You get the idea that you're trying to find things out, and that the fact that you have to occasionally, find a key that's been hidden somewhere or find a clue somewhere is all the better, and you're kind of reading things to learn a bit more about the world, like we are in this. I think that's one of the things that we can really thank Myst for. So here we are. So we have dates here. If you remember our first date. And again, I might have to be manning the camera on my phone a wee bit here, because I'll be jumping between the photo I took and photos of what... Because the idea is we work at these constellations, and they will then appear on the pillars near this kind of well in the middle. So the first one was October 11th, so if we go... October... and 11th... 1984... Oh, yeah, 1947... 70... 84... and 10:04 AM. So that's it. Let's see... 10:04 AM. We press the green button, and this slides to a position here, and that's a constellation. So I'm going to return to the camera phone and quickly snap it. Back in the old days, of course, we would have had to write these things down. So we'd have actually had a pad. I'd have been drawing pictures of that, working from these dates. Now I can take a photograph of them, which does help. So the next date is January 17th. And I do like this. We've got the, it's all mounted in stone, but it's still got the digital display. Like I say, I've always loved this hodgepodge of technologies. At 12:07. Let's just go the old-fashioned way. Yeah, I do like these hodgepodges of technology that it has. I think it does. It just gives it another air of mystery. Are you looking at high-tech culture? Are you looking at something steampunk? It's been called steampunk before. And that's 5:46 AM. I wouldn't actually say some of it's a bit steampunkish, but I would say if you're looking for a steampunk puzzle game, Myst actually probably isn't what you're looking for, because it's got a bit of steampunk, but it's not full on. It's more kind of a... get the camera back up. So there's our second constellation. And one more. Like I say, this is probably one of the most involved puzzles in the game, because we've got to come to this find the dates, come to this observatory, and then the last one is November 23rd. Yeah, so I think if you came into this looking for a sort of steampunk themed adventure, I don't think you get it. And actually, like I say, I'm 9791, so way in the future. Yeah, I think if you sold this to someone as a steampunk adventure, I could understand them being disappointed, because it's not really, it's just an odd puzzle game. One of the things I have said about Myst a lot is I think you have to have the love of it to play now, because it does have a lot of flaws, and it's been done better, in fact, with its own sequels. And that's one of the things I'll maybe mention at the moment, is 978. So yeah, 91 and 6:57 PM. Tea time. So there we go, last one, and I will go and bring up my camera again. Yeah, so one of the things I think actually, in all honesty, the sequels did better was actually to make the game more of a story told with puzzles in it, rather than you know, just some puzzles to hang a story to hang puzzles around. So we've got some constellations, so we're going to go back in there. Remember at the end of the Stoneship Age book, we had a whole load of constellations. So I can now use my pictures that I took to work out. So I'm going to go from the last one first. It was, well actually, that one looks familiar. Sadly, my pictures aren't great, as it turns out, so I think I've got Beetle. I feel like... Shush pup! Apologies there, dog barking in the background. We've got Beetle, we have Leaf. I'm trying to work out this one. 2 spots. It might be Snake. I'm going to try Beetle, Leaf and Snake. Now, you may be wondering, I was talking about the pillars. I didn't really take a look at them, I think, when I was first exploring the island. But down here we have pillars with pictures on them. So if I go for, there's Leaf, there's Beetle, and there's Snake. Aha, that was it. So you can see, and in fact this is one of the lovely things about it being RealMyst, is that, now believe it or not, I actually played through RealMyst before and I never actually looked at that before. I'd set those and I'd been so interested in watching this come up that I never even saw the boat rising. So that, if you're wanting a bit of unintended joy from me, that's something brand new to me. And it's indeed, like I say, in the old one it was a slideshow. All it was when you turned round again, you'd heard that noise, you'd hear that kind of water rushing noise, and you'd come in and suddenly, instead of the PowerPoint slides, well, effectively the hypercard slides with you know, the boat sunk, it's now surfaced. And so here we can, and one of the other things we can actually do, which we previously couldn't, was we could actually stand on the boat. Well, sadly I can't climb the rigging. You know, there's nothing secretive up there anyway, but believe it or not, this rigging hasn't been designed to be climbed. Normally you'd have things called rat lines down the side of them, if you're interested in old ships. So I will hopefully open this door. And it's not much of a captain's cabin, but there is a book lying in a rather nice chair. And there's the Stoneship Age. One of the things they have changed in the Age for RealMyst was the game had, they have brought in some sort of day and night mechanic. You'll occasionally see Myst Island at night. One of the other things is there are occasional weather things, and they made Stoneship rainy, which I thought gave it a much greater, actually the original in Myst it was actually quite sunny and bright, but actually giving it the kind of rain swept gives it a slightly sinister air with a thunderstorm. So what we are going to do is we are going to jump to the island. There's the lighthouse that we heard mentioned. And indeed I've kind of picked this just like I say, so yes, just yeah. Harry, no. Apologies there again if I'd shout at my dog a couple of times. So, as you can see, what we have is we have a boat, but it's flooded, and apparently whoever we are does not like getting his boots wet. So, we have, it's almost the same boat, but this one's got the ragged ends of a sail on it. And this is indeed the titular Stoneship. Now, we can see in all of these areas the boat's in fairly poor repair, and ship's in poor repair, everything's wet. We do have walkways going over to some sort of thing under an umbrella there, and to a lighthouse here. And in fact, so typically I pick the one area, if I might have to make a cut in the middle, I do pick the one which is hard enough to do continuity. So if there isn't a break here, I've carried on, and if not, we will take a break here, and we will continue this age the next time we play. So hello again, this is me returning after some time from when I last stopped recording. I'm going to try and bundle these all together, but I'm going to put some sort of transition in, hopefully. I'm still getting the hang of editing, I'm afraid. Yeah, this was a recording that wasn't to be. I've actually had an aborted run at this already with something that went wrong in the game. So, yeah, just in general, not going well at all, but hopefully I'll tack all this together and it might give you a slightly more unsatisfactory experience than normal, I'm afraid. But one of the things going through this I have noticed is the amount of detail that we've got. So this is the Stoneship age. It's rainy, so it reminds me of home. And I do like they've done a lot. I mean, again, this has been done better since, but the detail of the water falling is really quite something. So as you can see, we've got a lot of flooded areas here. If we go over this side again, I do like the ship caught in kind of the rock as well, as Atlas described. He tried to write it in, and we've still got this mix of sort of more modern looking technology, the concrete and the electric wires and the box lights, cage lights rather. But if we go back along here, and again I like the water falling and flowing effect. Any of you who've experienced heavy rain will know that this is a fairly nice representation. So over here, and the dark thunder, and again it gives it an almost apocalyptic feel with the heavy rain, with flooding there, which again hints to the island sinking. So here we have, if you press that, a pump starts. So let's have a look to see what we've cleared out. So that is not empty there. You can see a green light down there, so there's something down there. It's not emptied there. But if we go to the lighthouse, which we didn't notice, it was actually flooded. That has emptied here. That was initially flooded. Now what I'm going to do, this is me kind of jumping ahead in puzzles. As you can see, there's a key here on a chain, but nothing to unlock it with, and there's also a padlock there. So we have a small puzzle. So we'll go down this staircase, and again this gives you an idea that this lighthouse is much taller, because this is clearly where the base of it. For some reason there isn't a door. Maybe this is the foundation, but it gives you an idea that this lighthouse was perhaps meant to be taller. So that's locked as well, but there's also a tap here. So we empty the water out of this chest, close the tap again, and it should mean that the chest, which was once full of water and sunk, if we go back up this flight of stairs, and we'll use the pump. Now the pump clearly can only pump out one part of the level at a time. So if you look, I'm going to climb out the window, cross over, and I'll hit the middle pump, because that is going to be appropriate later. Now one of the things, that's pumped out these areas now. One of the things is, I think, because I didn't charge electricity properly, I didn't get all the lights on, and that made navigating some of the sections down there a bit harder. So we're back in, and now as you can see, we have the chest, so we should be able to unlock it. And inside the chest is another key. Not a bad little security system, not their best. And so if I climb this ladder, and then this allows me to get right into the top of the lighthouse. And down here we have a generator, a battery. So we turn the handle. I used to actually think you had to swirl it like that. And in the original, you didn't get as good a power meter. That's another thing they've actually improved in this. Is they've initially just kind of turn it and hope for the best. I actually think in the original, you just providing you turned it a little, it kind of counted basically. But now we've actually got a little scale here. And if I go back down, because this actually solves another puzzle, what that should now give us, if I go along here and look up, there is now a light at the top of the lighthouse, fading in and out. I do love that water running down effect, something I'd not noticed before. Now the other thing is, these tunnels should be better lit than they were when I previously went down. Yep, there's a lot more light. You can still see the water running off them in rivulets, and there's a secret hatch. Now, all this will become apparent. I'm going to go in here first. You can see these green panels. So this is clearly Akinar's room. We're now used to it. You're used to the opulence and finery of how each of them live, well, how Akinar likes to live. So he's clearly decked out his room quite nicely. Indeed, I've definitely stayed in worse hotels. Nice carpet, and you can see also they've got these big heavy doors to seal it in, so it's quite nice that you've got this room almost preserved. I quite like that. Now, as you can see here, you've got this thing. That, to be honest, I reckon that was just the creators having a muck about with some 3D modelling, because it's got no purpose, it just kind of moves around, and I think it's a bit like the snake in a box thing from the Mechanical Age. In here we have a syringe and some bottles. Now that's the thing, that could just be, maybe he's interested in medicine, but the thing is, now that we're suspecting the boy's motives, you have to wonder if there's not something a bit more sinister in that. You could almost see Sirius is the sort of person who'll stab you in the chest, while Akinar is the sort of person who'll poison your tea. Now, I like these globes are actually another thing they managed to improve, because initially they looked almost like they were kind of, to an extent, in the original game they looked like they were forming interference patterns, and you wondered if there was some sort of communications device, whereas in fact they were just meant to be spinning globes. And again, I don't normally go for remakes or reimaginings, but in some cases it is nice that they've been able to do what they intended. So, as you can see, being Akinar, he's got lots of jewels, finery, nice table setting, and that, all the cloth, that looks like the flag of the Black Ships. Now, it's possible that he just took inspiration for their logo, but now that we're suspecting motives again, you are sitting, was he involved in those Black Ships? The ones that were raiding the Mechanical Age? And I've often wondered, although I don't believe so, if Stoneship and Mechanical are actually in the same world. But I could be wrong. And then down here we have the red page. So we'll nab hold of that. And now, if we go back up here, now you might have noticed that there's a door with a red panel, and in here that will take us through this corridor, and this is where it went wrong last time, so hopefully it won't go wrong this time. And what we have here is an underwater chamber, and you can actually see some of the sunken parts of the island. You can see some of the walkways and that sort of thing, which I thought was a really nice detail. Again, that's been added since. There's a compass rose here. I'm not going to press the button, because what that'll do is, if you press the wrong side, which I may do later, if... How do I open these doors? You see? Ah, there we go. So, we've actually popped out at the other side of this. So if we carry on down, what we'll have in here, if we go through this, is Akinar's room. And again, well, that's an interesting decoration. So again, yep, Akinar, he's much keener on his, he's not so keen on the finer things. Basic, although quite nice pattern wood panelling, but a sparse bed, simple lights, you've got some bottles of poison. I'd love to say that's a rib cage or something else, but no, that looks like a human rib cage. Nothing good comes of someone who repurposes human body parts as furniture. There's some tribal masks, looks like they're from Chalawood. And in here there's some sort of... yeah, it's got a slide on it. Oh, it's a rose. But if you do that, it morphs into a skull. Again, I think this is just... hey, we've got some morphing technology. In here, there's a map. More maps. So he's clearly been more on the tactical side. Again, yeah, it's just a chart cabinet, but if we go through all the drawers, yep, more charts, and we don't really know where these are. There's the other half of this thing for turning on the marker switch vault, so that's useful to know. We've got a pink page at the moment, so we will go back up, because now we've turned on the light. Now, we saw that compass rose earlier. This is the way out of the level. but sadly we need some way to find out what direction we're looking at. So to do that, we climb back out here. As you can see, we're now on the other side of the ship, which is handy because we can go up this ramp right to the top of the biggest peak. Again, the things that you couldn't see in the old version because it kind of you were going up in steps is you can start taking a good look round at the whole island from the top, which was just views that you didn't have. And up here is a telescope. Now the one thing I miss is I used to have rather nice wallpaper of this telescope, but kind of with a sort of bright sunshine behind it, and it is something I slightly miss. So as you can see, we're looking around. It's not a particularly good telescope. And here's the top of the lighthouse. And the top of the lighthouse is at 135 degrees. So, and here's where it could all go wrong. Although I think I know my way out now, so I'm going to risk not saving. So 135 degrees. So if we go back down here, and this is what I meant, this is a rather short stage. At 135 degrees, we open this into this area, and we'll run along here, as you can see. So that'll be, let's see, that'll be 90 degrees there. 180, so what, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's hard to tell. So 135, 90, 180, 90. Yeah, so that's about 45 degrees. So that should be around here, I reckon. 100. Ah, there we go. That's a much better view. So yeah, if that's 0, that's 90. That's what, 100 and... I reckon that's 135. Yay! And we've now switched on all the underwater lights. How lovely. So you can again see some of the supporting structures. It's lit everything up. And that's handy, because one of the other things that's lit up is the flooded bit of ship that we saw. There we go. And so if we go back up from this rather damp area here, we're going to flood this again, so hopefully all these doors have closed behind me, otherwise I've just ruined Akinar's bedding, and he wouldn't like that. So yeah, you can now see it's all lit up there, so we'll go back along to our pump, and we'll activate the third one. Again, if you were doing this straight off the bat, this would probably require a lot more experimentation to see what all the buttons did. It's one of the things that I can kind of rush through the game a little, just to show you how this, well, you've seen this flooded, so that's flooded again. And as are Cirrus and Akinar's bedrooms. But all nicely lit because I charged that battery. So now if I go down here, and we're in the stern galley of the ship. And again, quite lovely. We've got this sort of lovely underwater feeling. It's nice to be able to get a proper look round. And the sort of arrow design. So, now where is this book? Ooh. Yeah, they're kind of showing off now. So the Myst book was hidden in a mysterious table. So, we'll go back to Myst. And any second now we'll be back in the library. There we go. Rolled over, I think, there. So, we can now see what Akinar has to say for himself. Or Cirrus, whichever one. Sorry, he's Cirrus, isn't he? So I got the rooms mixed up there.
With each page I can see more clearly.
Sorry.
Soon, free from this horrible prison. This book. You must visit the one remaining age. You have not.
Yeah, they didn't know what order we're going to do those in.
That my brother Akinar is demented. He is guilty.
Guilty as a cook could be.
Freedom our father had given us. Akinar begins with I ask you again. Do not retrieve the blue pages.
I'm kind of doing both. I'm a completist like that, I'm afraid, Cirrus.
He will destroy the
Yeah, but I like completing collections.
Never will escape. You must simply bring the ready. Story that I.
Interesting enough, this reminds me a bit of the telly I had in uni because I didn't have a particularly good signal. And ended up having to sellotape my aerial up to the onto the window.
Innocent, and he is guilty. This forgotten island long ago. I will owe you my life, and you will be greatly rewarded.
To be honest, I can already have all your stuff because I know how to get to it, but I haven't yet been able to find a computer with Amazon or anything really. So, you know, at the moment I've got all your gold but nothing to spend it on. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, again, as I said, in addition to this was day and night cycles, so now we have Myst Island After Dark. And yeah, quite lovely it is too. This was one of the big selling points because basically RealMyst was really there to be sold to fans of the series. And as a result it was things like, you want to explore Myst Island, don't you? Yes, we want to go to all the bits that we couldn't go before. Yes, we want it to look nicer. Oop, birds. There's the tower as well. You can actually see the towers facing this direction. Again, little tweaks like that were really nice additions to the game. And we have a moon moving very quickly across the sky, so I think there is actually some time based in the cycles, although I couldn't tell you for sure. So let's go back to Stoneship. Like I say, this one's a bit quicker. Let's go back. Back to the Stoneship age. And see if we can't retrieve that other page. Akinar's one. And finally I'll have this age recorded, for all that it's fought me all this time. Now that's a good sign, the lights are still on, so hopefully it means I don't have to recharge that battery. I might nip up into the lighthouse just to have a wee check. Hopefully, I'm not sure if the battery level actually goes down. It's one of the things I meant to check up on this actually, so up into the lighthouse. Whee. Oh, yeah, it could do with a recharge. See, again, because I've usually run through this game, you could actually get all these things done in the one go, but it's quite nice that you have to recharge the battery that does drain over time. If you hit the wrong button in that compass, it actually drains it completely and shuts down all the lights, and what you get is you get kind of an alarm going off and that blue light flashing. I do have some of it recorded from the aborted run. I may bung it in at the end, I might not. It depends, quite frankly, on how good or badly I'm doing at the editing. So let's... I thought I'd drained those bits. Yes, I have. Let's go down to Akinar's. It's all nicely lit. And again, it's nice to be able to look around all these bits. Like I say, I probably repeat myself a bit, but nice to be able to look around. So, in the room of creepy furnishing, manky... I'm not going to judge him too harsh in the bed. It is a simple pallet, but he might have just put his sheets into the wash. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here. Now, I'm going to hope that all these lights are still on, that I haven't lost anything. I think that's what the old one used to do. When you were in normal Myst, it actually used to just blink you straight back to... basically almost reset the level. It didn't quite. It kept the... hatch unlocked, but other than that, and obviously worked out which page you'd picked up, but in general it would turn this back with all the so that all the lights were switched off, and it was kind of a pain. It meant you had to redo some parts of it. So this has actually sped things up a lot, that I don't have to go back into that compass area, and the book's even sticking up, so this is one of the quicker ones, and that's a good thing because the next stage I'm doing is Selenitic Age, Selenic Age, I can't quite remember how it's pronounced or spelt. It doesn't. It's got a very long-winded puzzle right at the end to get to the book, and it means that you have to actually do a rather long and drawn-out, tedious bit of puzzle solving twice to get both pages. It's where this going back and forth really begins to get annoying. So let's see what Akinar has to say.
my friend. Bring in the blue pages.
I see you.
Cyrus is guilty. Pray, do not release him. He will destroy me, just as he did. The innocent bystander has been wrongfully tricked into imprisonment. You have observed his unbridled lust for riches. In the 4 remaining worlds, some plot. It was almost perfect. Final blow to Father. You tricked him into believing that it was I who was the murderer. I didn't murder Father. Bring me the remaining. Please. A liar. Pulling a liar.
Yeah.
Must not be free.
But you have turned someone's torso into a lampshade.
Remaining blue pages from the last age of Myst. I must be free.
If you can explain the torso lampshade, I'll consider it.
I cannot bear it here for eternity.
Now I actually see that age in Myst 4, and it's not too bad. You get the nicer one. Yours is monkeys. Akonar's just got... Cyrus has just got rocks and stuff. But anyway, so... That's... Again, I suppose we're now at the point where we've not really moved on that much. We basically know both of them seem like wrong-uns. Is it... You really just have to work out who did this. Was it slightly crazy Akonar who set fire to everything and went a bit nuts and destroyed all the ages, probably killing everyone? Or was it Cyrus who did it all for a fast buck? The problem is each is likely, and I suppose that's part of the good thing of the game. Each is likely, and it means that you've not got someone obviously good. I mean, naturally Akonar has turned someone's torso. I know I keep going on a bit, but torso into a lampshade is a bit of a deal breaker. But you know, at the same time, I've seen greedy people do far worse. At least you know who you are with someone who'll kill you and turn your torso into a lampshade, whereas someone who's going to try and steal all your stuff is probably going to do much more horrible things to you in the long term. Of course, you're dead in the short term, so it's 50-50. But all that remains for me to say is, once again, for any of the people who do watch this, thanks again for watching. It's nice to know I'm not shouting into the ether. What's really nice is if you like, or dislike at least to know you've seen it, and comment if you want to. I am going to start considering what I'm going to do for the next video. It's not going to be one of the Myst sequels, partly because I'm going to be mucking about, it might be a bit of a footer getting them running, and mainly because I'd like to do something a bit different, probably still an adventure game. I think I did have a go doing, I think I said in the Halloween one, I had a go doing Dead Island and found that I can't comment as much when I have to focus on a fast-paced game, but you never know, I might still try to do something different. If there's any games you'd like me to try, I might even pitch out a couple of suggestions and have people say in the comments if there's anything you'd like to, for some reason, hear me specifically talk through, say it and I'll see if I've got it. But other than that, once again, thanks for watching and I'll hopefully see you next time. Until then, bye for now.